Welcome back to another anniversary rant with your boy X Men 1991. We got three classic hip hop albums turning 30 years old. Starting with this one. November 8th, 1994. Keith Murray released his debut album named after his first single, The Most Beautifullest Thing in This World Is Just Like That, I Get In Ya, under the now defunct Jive Records, hitting number 49 on the Billboard 200 and number 5 on the top R&B/hip hop albums chart, and was certified gold, with the two singles, The Most Beautifullest Thing in This World and Get Lifted. Guest appearances from, of course, Redman and Eric Sermon, Paul Hightower, Hurricane G, and Jamal. Keith Murray was 20 years old when he released his album. Now 30 years later, he's 50. If you remember watching my video of my top 20 albums that was released in 1994, I put this in my top 3. At number 3 to be exact. Congrats to Keith Murray on 30 years of this classic album. It should have went platinum instead of going gold. I thought one of his other songs, That's That Shit, was on here, but it's not. Of course, produced it by Eric Sermon. Busta Rhymes also served as an executive producer on his album, and Redman, of course. Eric Sermon was the executive producer of this album. So that's the first album that was released on this day in 1994. The second album that was released on this day in 94, Pete Rock and CL Smooth released their second and final album, The Main Ingredient, under Electrica Records, hitting at number 51 on the Billboard 200 and number 9 on the top R&B/hip hop albums chart, with these singles, I Gotta Love, Take You There, and Searching. All tracks were produced by Pete Rock and CL Smooth, most likely Pete Rock. He's the rapper/DJ/producer of this album. And CL Smooth is the MC. We had guest appearances like Crystal Johnson and Rob O. Yeah, it's their last album to this day. They would not reunite until 1998 on Pete Rock's solo debut album, Soul Survivor. It's a classic. This is also on my list of my top 28 albums from 1994 as well. Congrats to Pete Rock and CL Smooth on 30 years of this album. They have not released an album together in 30 years. But they made guest appearances, but they made songs together on Pete Rock's solo albums. But anyway, last album that was released on this day. Shaquille O'Neal released his second album, Shaq Fu: The Return, also under the now defunct Jive Records. The album hit number 67 on the Billboard 200 and number 19 on the top R&B/hip hop albums chart, and was also certified gold. Wasn't as successful as his first album, but it still has bangers like Biological Didn't Bother, and of course No Hook. The song Biological Didn't Bother discusses that Shaq's rearrangement from his biological father, who he would not reconcile with until 2016. That song hit number 1 78 on the Billboard Hot 100, and 54 on the Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs chart, and number 18 on the Hot Rap Songs chart. The song No Hook hit number 66 on the Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs chart, and number 16 on the Hot Rap Songs chart. We had guest appearances from Redman, Keith Murray, Al Scratch, Eric Sermon, RZA, and Method Man. A week later, Method Man would release his solo debut album, Shaquille. Both Keith Murray and Shaq released their albums on the same day. Shaq was 22 years old when he released this album. And now, 30 years later, he's 52. Like I said, this album wasn't as successful as his first album, but it still has bangers. Congrats to Shaq on 30 years of this album. I know a lot of people said that Shaq's music sucked back then, but if they listen to his music now, they're going to realize he raps like 99% better than the garbage ass rappers we have now. I guarantee you that. That's going to wrap up my quick rant celebrating 30 years of Keith Murray, the most beautifulest thing in this world, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, the main ingredient, and Shaq Fu, the return. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for my next anniversary rant, and I'll be back reminiscing 25 years of a segment between The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, and Vince McMahon from the November 8th, 1999 edition of Raw is War. Happy 30th anniversary to Pete Rock and CL Smooth, the main ingredient, Shaq Fu, the return, and Keith Murray, the most beautifulest thing in this world.